even.
Welcome. I am starting with Welcome. Hello, and thanks for joining us for our Create Happy, Healthy Kids webinar, Take 2. I'm Michelle Harcourt, a nutritionist and partner with Imbalance Lifestyle Management.
And I'm Brenda Wallenberg, former social worker, nutritionist, founder, and partner with Imbalance as well.
We're going to spend an informal 45 minutes or so going over some of the information in our main webinar, but in a bit of a different format, interview style. So hopefully you'll catch some new insights and get to see Brenda and my more easygoing and relaxed sides. Yeah. I suggest you get comfy, maybe grab a pen, paper, and put a do not disturb sign on the door, and to your computer room and on your forehead if you're sitting with your laptop in a common area.
And then spend the next little while with us on topics that could be the most important parenting topics she'll cover all year. Parenting is an amazing privilege. Mother of 5, mother of 1 here, and we can attest to the fact that it can also be challenging. And we want to recognize your efforts and your desire to learn more about how to be the best parent possible. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. And we've got 3 main takeaways we want you to leave here with today. We want you to know, 1, 3 dangerous trends that keep moms worried about their child's poor attitude and potentially disruptive behavior. More importantly, not only will we look at these harmful trends, we're going to show you how to avoid them.
Yeah.
We'll also give you easy to follow practical strategies you can use right away to create happy, healthy kids with ease. So Brenda, why don't you start off by telling us something a little bit about yourself?
Sure, let's go for it. So we actually are 100% sold on helping parents to excel and to create a real future of wellness for their child. And we've helped a lot of families over the years. At this point, both with my decades of experience in social work and nutrition fields, as well as in raising my own family, I feel like I have a semi-decent overall understanding of what's currently happening in families and have, earned the right to at least be able to give hopefully some encouragement and support. In those last 20 plus years, teaching moms and dads, people that I and that actually all of our nutritionists in Imbalance call the absolute salt of the earth, teaching them how to raise happy, healthy kids whilst not losing their own health and happiness in the process. All right, so that's our goal.
Yeah. Now, I know that's something we're both pretty passionate about, raising happy, healthy kids while helping parents grow in their own health and happiness as well. How have you been able to do that, and how are we helping others to do that through our programs?
Well, we have a big value on small, simple, and sustainable steps in a number of essential BALANCE or balanced wellness areas that we'll cover a little bit later on. But we also want people to keep their sanity in the process and find themselves happier and healthier too. So we want it to be a combo there. And that's why I get a little frustrated, actually a lot frustrated, as do you, when you hear people talking about the horrendous cost of raising happy, healthy kids.
You must be talking about the rumor that's pretty well constantly circulating, and that rumor that creating happy, healthy kids costs parents big time. And the belief that, yes, you might be able to have your kids operating on all 4, body, mind, emotion, spirit cylinders, but it'll significantly set you back both, all financially, mentally, and physically.
You got it, Michelle. That's exactly what we're talking about. Okay. So like any rumor, this one has a nugget of truth. Or I shouldn't say any rumor, maybe most rumors. This one has a nugget of truth, okay? So making any kind of change is likely to have an impact on your time, your money, your emotions, your energy. But that nugget got all twisted, kind of blown out of proportion, and I would say simply lost in translation.
Yeah. So you're saying that the truth is that creating happy, healthy kids does come with some degree of cost.
Yes, I mean, there is an element of that. I mean, think about chopping vegetables, grilling, some chicken for supper. That takes more time than ripping open a package or some kind of fast food thing. If you're going to go for a family bike ride, that is going to expend more energy than sitting, surfing channels together. There's more emotional investment required to have open and supportive household communication than to simply stuff everything. And I would be making things up if I didn't say that, a pound of fresh, grass-fed, no hormone-free beef costs the same as something from a factory farm. So there is that element there for sure.
But those extra bits of time and energy, money, and emotional investment produce huge payoffs.
Right, exactly. Neither of us have ninja chopping skills. It takes us some time to do vegetables, and neither of us watch movies while we're on a treadmill. And neither of us has a cow in our backyard. Okay, so it is going to cost a little bit, and change always costs initially.
Yeah. Because like with the time management skills gained through proper menu planning, which we talk about a lot in our programs, and shopping, and the increase in energy that comes with eating real foods, you should have plenty of time and energy to spare. Even making a simple, home cooked meal will be way more plausible. Yeah.
So there's a trade-off. Okay. Once you learn how to prioritize emotional and attitudinal health, once you discover how to live within your budget, and then the cash and the additional energy seem to just flow in and fill there. So it's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's our promise to you for the remainder of our Take Two webinar. If you are currently a parent, already on your way to family wellness, you're about to get additionally educated. So you're going to have hope restored as well, which is huge, and feel a rush of courage and be empowered. So you are on the right track, and it is worth the effort.
Yes. And if you're a parent who's just thinking about making a move to wellness, we want to talk to you too, because we're going to share some potential life path actually that could make you be significantly improved in your health and wellness in your family. And we're going to tell you how to do it simply, safely, and sustainably. Those are 3 S's. We love those 3 S's. Okay. Yeah. And Michelle and I speak from personal experience. Both of us going from illness to wellness ourselves and taking our family. Me, 5 kids, Michelle 1, and we helped bring them along. So we're going to give you some details that'll back up that experience.
So creating happy, healthy kids is possible, and we're going to show you how. Rest assured, you can create happy, healthy kids, and will be a happy, healthy mom or dad as well.
Yes, you actually, one of the phrases that we use often in our program is that you have the ability to create an inheritance of health. You actually get to pass on a family legacy of wellness.
Which I feel is extremely important. Yeah.
Yes.
So last question, before we move on to the main content, why should our viewers even listen to you, Brenda?
Well, are you asking me how did I get here and why does it matter?
Yes.
Okay. Well, through a very interesting and somewhat roundabout journey, as a founder of Inbalanced Lifestyle Management, this is a company that creates holistic wellness programs for children, teens, and adults. So I and my partners, Michelle, of whom is one, work to help our clients discover real-life solutions to things like lack of energy, imbalanced moods, poor concentration, and then over or underweight. I'm also the author, as you know, of a book called Overweight Kids in the Toothpick World, a very practical manual that helps parents know how to move their children towards an appropriate weight. Now, the wellness principles in there apply to everybody, but especially if you've got a child that's carrying extra weight. And then with all the kids I've had lots of practice in that as well. So I love what I do. You love what you do. We love our healthy families. Yeah. All right.
But you weren't always so successful at living this type of life, were you?
Bringing up my dark days.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we got dark days. Okay. So she's right. In my 20s, I was a newly married social worker. I loved my job. I loved my husband, but started having a ton of issues emotionally and physically. Okay. Ironically, for the social work part, the emotional things. Yeah. And things started catching up with me health-wise. There was fatigue, hypoactive thyroid, digestive issues. I ended up with an ulcer, a lot of moodiness, excess weight. That whole muffin top thing was really expanding. And then some brain fogginess. So things were, to say the least, a little challenging. So I tried everything I knew, really wanted to get better, but nothing worked. And it wasn't actually until I discovered that none of my education or my experience or skills would make a difference until I actually discovered how to live a balanced life. So then I figured I better decide how to do that,
So what did the learning how look like for you?
30 years of researching, attending workshops, gaining certifications, and then working individually with healthcare practitioners to become knowledgeable about emotional, physical, spiritual, environmental health, really. Mm-hmm. And then to help create happiness and health for myself, in my family, and those around me. So, the thing that's kind of fun is that no one else has to go through those 30 years because I did it, okay?
Yeah.
So now we've been able to figure out how to keep that health, and now with our programs, be able to pass along that and make a significant positive difference, wouldn't you say, in the people around us?
Absolutely.
So hopefully listeners are ready to experience that same kind of result in their family. But enough about me. Let's get into how to raise happy, healthy kids. All right?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So as we've mentioned, there are 3 dangerous trends that keep moms worried about their child's poor attitude or disruptive behavior. Can you tell us about the first one, Brenda?
Yeah. So we're going to start with the third dangerous trend that I'm going to be addressing moms, or there may be a few dads out there too, so absolutely you're welcome to be here. But things that have those parents end up in that worrisome place. And the first thing is not creating a safe place.
So what do you mean by that, by a safe place? What do you mean?
By that, we're looking at a reliable, a secure, a free of danger place. So think about our children's world today, in particular the different and daily pressures that they experience. So if you're looking just at advertising, for example, the cultural messages that they're getting and that both children, preteens and teens are exposed to, then you can begin to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and deal with it actually on a regular basis with my son. Even though he's only 9, I am surprised at how many of these topics he comes home talking to me about already. So kids today are told that they need to have clear skin and be funny and have stellar athletic skills, be muscularly inclined, and musically inclined.
Or muscularly.
I was going to say that they have to be muscles on steroids, but have lots of friends, be smart. Last but not least, they have to have the skinny body for a lot of the young girls.
Yeah. So we end up with those coming at us, magazines, TV, like you said, friends, even a young age. And then there's the additional factors that teens face that we call the kind of triple decker coolness quotient. Are they engaged in sex? Are they drinking alcohol? Are they using drugs? And it's not hard to see that the world can be a pretty challenging place for our kids when they go out in the door in the morning. And then we got those external pressures. And I mean, all of our households have, challenges as well. So it could be illness, maybe, could be strife in a marriage relationship. It could be divorce. So our kids' world can be impacted pretty significantly through a variety of ways. And that impact can lead to things like poor attitudes, behavioral issues, depression, disordered eating, low self-esteem, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So having a safe place when you are a child is very important, isn't it? As a counselor, that's probably something that was extremely important for you to get across, right?
Yeah.
So according to the documentary actually called the Project Happiness, 3.22 million kids ages 7 to 17 were treated for depression in the past 5 years. And this is more than double the number for the previous 5 years. So that trend is not something we want to continue for sure. And I know it's important all through a child's life, but there are some particularly important times in their lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got, kids that are going through a maturation process. All children go through it. I mean, it's a healthy thing that's supposed to happen. But particularly with preteens and teens, there is a significant need for bonding with parents at a time when they're trying to bond with their friends. Now, they need to do that. It's called technically individuation, or, figuring out who the heck you are independent of your family. All right. But we need to be able to balance that time, and providing a safe place for kids at that time is essential. One of our program's favorite parenting books has become Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate's Hold On to Your Kids. And in it, they talk about some of the changes that go on in our culture right now that are really creating some challenges on that parent-child bond. And they remind us that, as it's always been in history, successful parenting can only occur in context. That means you can't effectively parent someone who doesn't want to be parented.
No.
Okay, so how can we get our children to be receptive to our parenting? And there's really only one way, and it's from a really cool and specific type of relationship called an attachment relationship. I know you know all about that because you do that with Ethan. Okay. So if you're going to let your child grow and be strong, then we've got to make sure that these are fitting in, and that providing that safe place is a key way to foster the establishment of that bond.
Okay. So now I know we want to cover some stats here, Brenda, because they are so clearly to identify how important these pieces of the parenting puzzle are. Can you talk a little bit about the suicide rates?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned already the depression rates, the increase of that, and they are heartbreaking statistics, but it's essential if we're going to look at the realities that are around us. So in the last 50 years, suicide rates among children in the 10 to 14 year age range have increased fourfold. Okay, with 120% of that increase from 1980 to 1992 alone. So we've got some huge stats there.
Yeah.
And the idea what the key trigger for suicide attempt, successful or not, is in that age range.
Yes, peer rejection.
Yeah, I know, you got it. Okay, so children that are not strongly attached to their parents, understandably, are going to gravitate somewhere for that connection, and in general the movement happens towards peers. And unfortunately, because of the age and stage of their own maturity, they simply aren't able to provide what adolescents need.
So how do we go about combating the potential devastating effects of peer rejection?
Well, that magic word again, okay, the attachment relationship. And I'm imagining, us as moms here are thinking like the moms that are out there, and the parents just going, give me some concrete examples, like what could that actually look like? So let's start, if you don't start trying to create an attachment relationship with a teen. Some of us have to because we haven't done it before, but ideally we want to start early. Okay, so with an infant, we're looking at things like bottle feeding or breastfeeding with lots of closeness, really lots of eye contact and lots of touch, that kind of a thing. And then where you're the parent of a young child, being their snack dispenser, their bedtime story reader, their Band-Aid provider, all of those things. And even if your child's in daycare or you have a nanny, you still can do those as much as possible in the time that you have with them. And then lastly, something that you're really good at is lots of quality time, whether it's playtime or having them do chores with you, which, can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun when we do chores together. Lots of times we just blast the music and dance around and make it. We've even played catch between certain chores to break it up between, okay, we're folding laundry, now we're doing that. So yeah, we've been able to have some fun. But the place that, attachment to a teen, that's something you are familiar with that I am not yet. So what would you suggest about the teens? Because that's clearly a time that's much more difficult for most people to imagine the attachment, because the teen, in the younger years, my son still thankfully wants to be around me. But teens, again, having you as an example to follow is such an amazing gift that I've had in my life. So how have you done it with your 5?
Well, not always successfully, but overall successfully. Okay. And a few things that we use and that, just statistically show to be really important are, number one, be a parent, not a teen. Be a parent, not a peer. Okay. Don't be a teen either. Okay. But there's lots of children, I'm imagining, in people's neighborhoods, in their churches, in their schools, or if they homeschool in the homeschooling association, whatever, there's lots of people around your child from which they can draw peer relationships. But he or she only has you as a mom, a dad, a stepmom, a stepdad, or a guardian. So, unfortunately, as I mentioned, this time probably more than any other previous generation, teens are gravitating towards peers. So we need to make sure that they have somebody else in our role as a parent. They don't need someone else who looks like them, dresses like them, listens to the same music, although I do listen to some of the same music, but not all of it, okay. But they need to have someone that thinks and approaches the world differently than the way that they do. That means they need a parent. So your child's relationship needs to be the dominant influence on their development. That safe place we talked about, for time for your child, for communication with your child, for connection with your child, especially during the teen years, is essential. Now, no parent's perfect. You're not, I'm not, no. Okay. But most of us have vastly superior skills to provide essential elements to our children that Neufeld and Maté, again, in our favorite parenting book, talk about as unconditional love and acceptance. I mean, much as I love most of my children's friends, I can say in all honesty that during their teen years, and because of things that they're going through, they do not have the ability to provide that on an ongoing basis to our children. We need to do that.
Okay. So what's another thing parents can do to create a safe place?
So beside that attachment relationship, make family time a given. Okay, so one of the many challenges during those teen and preteen years is, as I mentioned, that push-pull tug of war with kids wanting to be with their friends. And again, it's natural. They have to do that. They're very good, however, at expressing what they want. They don't always know what they need. That's our role. Yeah. So if we parent in a way that's based on our child's wants, then we're going to be ending up relegated to the role of things like a homework checker, a chore delegator, lost wallet finder, whatever, those kind of things. All right. Yeah. While our teens then will become the major relationship with our own teen. Okay. Yeah. So that's not what we want.
No, we absolutely don't want that. So
can we say this together?
Don't go there.
Okay, yeah, good. That's really important. Yeah. Okay. Now, instead, from early on, balance those times of correction with times of connection. Now, it can be easy to have most of our conversation with our children be about things like chores, or like I mentioned, lost wallets. If I had $1 for every time I found a lost wallet, like I would be a millionaire, okay? The need for new clothing item or neglected curfew times, all those kind of things. And, you want your time, therefore, with your child to be enjoyable and have some engaging activities as well.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is, don't be a peer, but you can still have a ton of fun with yourself. Because I really enjoy going to the Cirque du Soleil with Ethan and taking him to ball games, and those are all ways that I'm completely connecting and creating that bond.
Yes.
Yeah, but
keep doing that.
Yeah,
absolutely. You want to do that. Okay, and then when they get older, kind of like teen years, which you get to come into soon. Okay, it comes to, we still do stuff with them, but maybe things like some cell phone stuff maybe.
Yeah. Gosh, there's going to be so many of those things. Like if you're home, get home later, or where are you at? Noticing where everyone's at. That's something you told me that you do with your kids, is you guys know where each other's at all times, right? That's huge. Discovering a TV show. That's something, I mean, if you can make it a great documentary, I do that with my son actually, and now that can go into the teen years even. Me and my son watch a documentary together almost every week. Oh, man. And so there's a bonding there because you have a lot of dialogue time about what's going on. So good documentaries and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then some other things, family meals together, and especially to get the kids to help with the prep time or helping pick the menu items so that they enjoy tasting them, that kind of thing. Family nights. We did family nights all along.
I know. I want to be adopted by you for your family nights. You guys are amazing.
We did. And lots of times it was like, I mean, we had 5 kids. We didn't have tons of money. So lots of times it was like a family swim night or games night, that kind of a thing. And then again, back to the meal times, we also did, you can do grace. Like even if you don't practice a formal faith, I think it's really important to show gratitude for the food that you have, the fact that you've got time together as a family. So, those kind of things could be slipped in there as well. And the family times, again, they don't have to be expensive, but make them fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're laughing and enjoying that. That's one part of our program is L for Laughter. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. Now, some of you may have noticed that we started this section of the webinar by saying from early on, establish family meal times and family nights. And I'd also add that if you haven't started yet, start now. I mean, we can't go back and change what we've done, but we absolutely can create a forward progression of doing these, great things that Brenda's talked a lot about. I realize that with older children, you may be working around their activities and part-time jobs, things like that. And my situation, I'm a split home. So, you're working around other schedules, a lot of those things, right? But making it a priority to make it happen, even if initially it feels like a bribe, is really important. And doing things that they enjoy, like dinner out, mother-daughter, for me, mother and son, but activities like manicures and pedicures if you have a little girl or a teen. I mean, I know that's something you've...
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at me. Do I even have any nail polish genes? No, nothing. Yeah. But I have kids, 2 daughters who definitely have, skip the recessive gene, and they have huge issues with manicures and pedicures. Yeah. So we'll do them at home, or we'll go out to the spa, and certainly fit that in. Okay?
Yeah, just anything. And again, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. Just get creative. Make a craft.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything like that. And you have so much dialogue time over those things too, to kind of see where your child's at, right? So,
absolutely.
So time to move on to the second dangerous trend moms face that keep them worried about their child's attitude and behavior: the trend of carrying a lot of baggage or not dealing with your own stuff. Can you go into a little bit more about, what that is?
Absolutely. I mean, most of us have minor, if not serious, residue from growing up. I mean, not every single person, but most of us have a few issues that happen in there, either from our early childhood experiences or from situations that happened outside of our home. And I mean, if you can envision a suitcase, that whole baggage thing, I mean, it would be rare that someone's suitcase would be empty. It doesn't have to be overflowing, but there's usually something in there. And sometimes we're aware of our baggage issues, but we simply stuff them. We don't talk about them a lot, or maybe we smother them with, in my case was chocolate. Some people it's wine, whatever, okay? And sometimes the issues are buried in our subconscious, and they manifest in issues such as maybe OCD, or things like fear of moving outside a limited comfort zone. So those are kind of things that could be happening.
Okay. So why is it important to a child's behavior, attitude, and self-esteem that parents deal with their own suitcase?
Well, in official terms, our baggage would be called unresolved issues, okay? And unfortunately, issues that aren't resolved doesn't mean that they're not powerful, or they're not controlling, or they're not damaging, or not far-reaching, either in our kids' lives or in our own. So when we don't deal with our stuff, then our children suffer. And first, they don't see examples of healthy resolution to difficult circumstances.
Yeah, so when they're confronted with intimidation or conflicted about whether to drink to excess or do drugs, then at that point they don't have the tools or support to examine those situations in a deeper way and come to a sound resolution, like response.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't have that bag of tools there, that kind of a thing, And then secondly, when we don't deal with our stuff, then our children sometimes suffer the brunt of our pain. And I mean, you know, in the words of my oldest son, as we were getting ready to have a chore day, he was basically saying, so just let me get this straight. You want to look like no kids live here. And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. Okay, me, Miss Control Freak. Okay, trying to keep chaos at bay here. All right. So, you know, I mean, that's a relatively humorous and a simple example. But let me tell you, there was some not so funny, not so mild examples as well. So when we get the help that we need to deal with our deep issues, that means that our children, or we are not going to, it doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes, okay, I should say. Those are still going to happen, but getting the help allows us to parent in a way that is cleaner, it's not so convoluted, and it's better for our kids and for us too, you know.
Okay, so what are some good ways that we can deal with our baggage?
Well, there's a few examples. Let me think here. First off, I would say be willing to do the work. Okay. And then one of the foundations in our imbalance programs, as you know, is hope. So actually have hope that what you're doing is going to have some benefit. Okay, believe that there could be some changes happening. Next, be courageous and explore all the avenues that are necessary for growth. Everyone's different, and we have different things that happen to us, and we have dealt with those issues in different ways. So it's not a magic bullet as to how to resolve our issues, but a few examples could be like forgiving someone else or ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's some really amazing self-help material, family dynamics or parenting books. Not all of them, but there's some pretty good ones out there today. You could talk with and maybe begin to develop some accountability with a really good friend. So there was some accountability if you realized you were raising your voice often and you want to stop doing that, you know, get some support that way. Mm-hmm. If you are a member of a faith community, you could talk to a member of the clergy about getting some spiritual support. I know that both you and I have dealt with some stuff through energetic modalities, things like, you know, emotional freedom technique, maybe see a holistic practitioner for that, or a social worker or counselors to work on limiting beliefs. So those are all different possibilities. And then the third thing, so paying it forward with your kids. I think one of the greatest things that we do when we make changes ourselves is we then have the ability to teach some of those tools to our kids. I know you do with Ethan. Why don't you talk about some of the things you do with him?
Yeah, you know, this is such a near and dear place for me with this topic, because in order to overcome my own health issues that were very serious, I needed to use them all. You know, it wasn't just food. You know, yes, I had to clean up my food. That played a tremendous role. Yeah. But the baggage was such a larger part. When I would get angry, my condition would flare. And I had no idea that my emotions played a role in my condition. Yet I feel that looking back, they played a larger role than even the foods. I needed to clean everything up, but I had dealt with it. So now I'm so thankful. My son, if he's frustrated, if we've had a confrontation or anything, he'll go meditate. Yeah. You know, not always, of course, but there will be times he'll go meditate. There's other times where I've said to him, you know, do you want to go eat? Yeah, I'm going to go earth and go eat my meal out looking at the pasture. And, you know, all of those things, the clean air and all of these things, that he likes documentaries, you know, to be able to raise him in that, it just allows him. There's been times in the back seat where he's like, oh, I'm getting concerned about that, but that's just my belief about it. And you know, so it's amazing when you can kind of, they are such sponges, our children, if we come to them with a loving place of saying, I just want to help your life be a little bit more.
And when we do that, when we actually give them effective stress management tools and effective nutritional tools and all that kind of thing, and give them unconditional love and support, then we have passed on what we talked about at the beginning, that inheritance of health to our kids. For sure. You know.
Yeah. So now it's time for the number one dangerous trends that moms face that keeps them worried about their child's attitude and behavior. Drum roll, please.
Okay, good. Okay.
The trend of unknowingly fostering a toxic lifestyle. So what's become very clear in the past 3 to 4 decades is that the lifestyle we have become accustomed to, particularly in North America and other parts of the world that are heavily industrialized, is that the actions we are taking in our lives, the food we eat, the beverages we drink, the exercise we do, the way we handle our stress, the way we sleep, and the manner in which we restore ourselves simply is not having the positive effect that we were looking for in ourselves and in our families.
Absolutely. Good intro to this point, because inadvertently, Michelle, often due to confusion, lack of information, we've made decisions in our household and with our kids that have contributed to toxic physical, emotional, environmental, and mental results. And I just would say that I can't imagine there's probably any parent who does that on purpose. There are things that we didn't know or we weren't aware that they were going to have that kind of response. And for most of us, something feels a little or a lot out of control. And actually, that's because it is.
Yeah. Since the late 1950s, early 1960s, the level of toxicity has gone up significantly in today's society, and increased stress and busyness, increased noise, increased feeling of not being safe, increased consumption of junk food, lack of sleep, Wi-Fi, lack of exercise, increased increased prescription drug use, increased chemicals in general, and then all kinds of diseases like diabetes and heart disease and cancer, for example. This is not a good pattern, not for us and not for today's kids. That's one of the primary reasons that Brenda created In Balance's Happy Healthy Kids programs, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the main reasons that we are hoping for this whole group, a groundswell of parents who want to help turn things around. And we can't see you, but we're envisioning hopefully a few nods, a few raised hands. And if so, then thank you very much. Because currently in North America, anorexia is the third most common chronic illness among adolescents, with 95% of those with eating disorders being between the ages of 12 and 25. Okay. Over the past 3 decades, childhood obesity rates have tripled in the US and in Canada. And today, 1 in 3 children is overweight and 1 in 6 is obese. One more stop, okay? We're also seeing significant childhood and teen increases in diseases that are not typically thought of as childhood. And one more stat, sorry. For the first time ever, okay, the life expectancy of our generation's children is anticipated to be shorter than that of their parents. So not a stat, but just a kind of a trend that we're seeing.
Yeah,
right?
And sometimes stats like that can make being a mom like almost scary, but sometimes though, stats like that can get us to see that something is really wrong with the overall picture, and it makes us think, stop, what is happening? What can we do? So then we can move to the important question of, why is this happening?
Yeah, and then we actually can maybe make some changes and do something. So if you go online and you do a little research about whatever your child's issue is, maybe those issues that you jotted down a few minutes ago, maybe they're moody, or they have acne, or they seem to have trouble sleeping or losing weight or concentrating in school, and you're going to find a lot of things, a lot of reasons why people think that contribute to those things. You're also going to find a lot of suggestions around how you should deal with that, and most of them are going to cost money. So maybe they want you to buy a mood balancing drug, or an herbal ointment, or diet pills, or a sleep aid, or a counseling appointment, that kind of thing. But what I found, and what we now use in our programs, is that there are actually 7 primary contributing factors to most physical and emotional imbalances in a family. And they can easily be described in our infamous acronym BALANCE, BALANCE, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So what is the B for?
Okay, start with B for body type. So in other words, are you attending to the unique fuel mix, meaning the kinds of food your child does best on, willpower stores, meaning how the brain functions, and physical and emotional exercise that they need? So metabolic kind of changes, exercise changes, that kind of a thing. Okay.
And what's the first A?
First A is for attitude and emotion. A biggie, we love that one. Okay, is your family promoting a can-do or a can't-do attitude? And are you dealing with or stuffing those negative emotions?
Okay, and the L?
I want to
My favorite.
Your favorite one I'm getting better at. Okay, laughter and play. So how is your family having fun and dealing with stress?
Okay, second A.
For exercise or activity, actually. So where are you fitting in, say, functional activity, just walking, moving more, and where are you fitting in other types of appropriate exercise that we've done a lot of research on and that we know work best, most time efficiently in a family?
Yeah, our program has got some fantastic tips for that. And
good night's sleep. Are you getting enough to wake well rested?
Super important.
Not just a certain amount of hours. Like, how do you feel when the alarm goes off in the morning?
Right. And the C?
Clean water and air. So is what you are drinking and breathing helpful or harmful to your health?
Yeah, because in every decision, you're kind of going down one of those paths, right? Am I harming my body, or am I helping my body? Yeah. And the E, the big E.
Favorite for nutritionists. Okay, eat for health. All right. So when any of those factors isn't being addressed well in a home, then a toxic household can be the result.
So now, as much as we'd love to cover each of the balance acronyms thoroughly, we could honestly here all night long. You probably don't want to be watching this webinar all night. So therefore, Brenda, can you put these groups into 4 simple elements of potential toxicity?
Yeah, absolutely. So in a household, potentially you could have one or all of these, okay? So emotional toxicity, physical toxicity, environmental toxicity, and mental toxicity. And I mentioned to you that you had jotted down something before, but you actually hadn't. I'm going to ask you to jot it down right now. You're probably going, did I jot something down? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is just for a minute, think about 2 biggest challenges that you have with your child in any of those areas. So, whether it is acne or weight or insomnia or perhaps some behavioral challenges, maybe your lack of concentration, whatever. So just jot them down quick there, 1 word even. And then keeping in mind those challenges, because I'm going to start listing some symptoms of a toxic household in each of those 4 areas as well. Because when there's toxicity in household, usually each of these areas has a little bit of imbalance at least. Okay.
So emotional, can you just go into what that would mean?
Yeah. Okay. So emotional, we're looking at maybe attitudes. They're less than stellar. Maybe you've got door slamming. I tend to say teens, but it could as well be parents. Okay. I've been there, done that. With younger kids, you might have tantrums. Maybe there's not a lot of cooperation around chores or curfew compliance. Sometimes family members are reluctant to express their opinions or their emotions. They tend to keep them hidden. And there could even be with some of that attachment parenting we talked about, there could be a real lack of that. So real gaps in relationship between parents and kids.
Okay. How about the physical toxicity? What would that entail? Okay.
So that's the one that we usually see people for first. That's the first thing they usually come to us for, is they're noticing that there are some sleep issues. Maybe there's not a lot of exercise going on, and we hate to break it to you, couch surfing does not count. Okay. There can be family members with low immune system functioning. Maybe they catch every flu and cold that goes around. They can have, you already talked a little bit about sleep, but bedtimes could be too late or sleep could be disturbed. And there's almost always some level of disordered eating. And it can be binging and purging. It can be anorexia. It can be overeating, can be sugar addictions, which you and I are both quite familiar with in our past. Okay. Or it could even just be a real high intake of processed foods, lots of chemicals, that kind of thing.
And not even being aware a lot of the times that that their foods, are harmful to them, because the packaging and everything makes it look like have this. Environmental health.
Okay, so environmental, oh man, I have a favorite, me and stats. Okay, so a favorite stat, a few years ago I listened to an interview by the then head of the American Naturopathic Association, Dr. Steve Nugent. And he mentioned the stat that I probably will never forget. And he said that 50% of the toxins that have ever been formulated since time began have been made in the last 100 years. Okay, so that means your child, my child, you and me, we are experiencing an unprecedented amount of toxic chemicals. So let's just do this graphically. So I'm stretching out my arm this way, you stretch out your arm that way. Okay, from my fingertips over here, my fingertips to Michelle's fingertips over there. If we looked at just the end of your fingers, 50% of the toxins ever made have been made in that time span.
So basically, no matter how many thousands of years you personally believe the earth has been around, we have accumulated a full 50% of those toxins ever made in the last 100 years.
Yes.
In the tips of one set of fingernails.
Right.
That is a lot of toxins.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by environmental toxins, and where exactly are they coming from?
Okay, let's do a little short list here. Okay, so let's think about chemicals in our food. So pesticides, herbicides, bovine growth hormone in certain dairy products. If you move on to meats, there's often steroids, antibiotics sometimes. Let me think, genetically modified elements in food, especially canola, soy, sugar beets, zucchini apparently now as well, and corn are highly genetically modified. And then chemicals in our personal care products. So sodium lauryl sulfate in our shampoo, aluminum in our deodorants, phytates in our skincare products, gas fumes, dryer from the dry cleaners. Okay, those kind of fumes. So is that enough? Okay. So wherever we are, those kind of things are circulating around us.
All right. Let alone cell phones.
Yes, electromagnetic frequencies as well. Exactly.
Yeah. So mental toxicity. What do you mean?
Okay, so by that I'm talking about things like mood swings, depression, anxiety, ADHD, to even things, and I say simply, meaning not I want to minimize them because they're still impactful, but families where there's just not a lot of fun happening. People are just very unengaging with each other. There's not those play-filled family nights. They're not happening. Yeah. Okay. Let's also look at things like ADHD I mentioned, but also autism and the higher incidence of that today. So, when I was growing up, which was a lot earlier than when you were growing up, but I don't even remember hearing the terms ADHD or autism. No one even mentioned them now. And some of that will be due to better reporting mechanisms, to better diagnostic tools, for example. But still, the increase is absolutely significant. 30 years ago, autism affected maybe 1 in 10,000 children. Today, it's estimated to affect as many as 1 in 50 and mainly boys.
Oh. So research has linked both ADHD and autism to gastrointestinal problems, actually, which we're finding is linked to almost everything.
And yeah, it
starts in the gut. We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And there are now studies showing that the main problem is likely in the gut bacteria. And this in turn is linked to nutritional deficiencies and GMOs. And I know we're not going into all of this, but a lot of that actually comes with stress factors because we shut down our digestive system. So it's a much bigger picture. In other words, when we talk about a toxic day in the life of a family or individual child, we need to think about all these areas, you know, and then the parents, because really they're the primary ones that are providing all of this to the children. They set in motion all of these things to become, you know, a toxic home. They're faced with the fact that we do need to do something about it.
I know. Oh yeah, exactly. So let's move on to what we as parents can do.
Okay. So why don't you share a few more family wellness tips while sprinkling in a little information about Happy Healthy Kids program?
Absolutely. I love it. That's my favorite thing. Okay. So the Happy Healthy Kids program is a weekend live workshop where you get to see Michelle and I and other ones who are nutritionists, and we give you all the tools that you need to transform a toxic household into a healthy household.
So by the end of the Happy Healthy Kids workshop, parents actually have the tools to create a healthier household that most of the parents out there, they don't, you know, it's, and why is it that we do this?
Why do we do
I
this?
want to go on a tangent and going, but I'm like, we're living on time.
Okay. So we do this because we want parents to leave our workshops being one of the few parents in the world, and hopefully more of them as we go along, who actually know how to increase energy by eating for health and doing smarter exercise. We want them to be able to increase the quality of sleep for their child and develop improved digestion for their whole family, okay, by reducing that environmental toxicity that we talked about. And we also give tons of practical tips on choosing healthier products and that kind of thing. We want parents to be able to regulate their own blood sugar levels and help their child with theirs. That helps manage stress incredibly, okay? And then to balance moods, okay, because once you've done that, you decrease your emotion and attitudinal toxicity as well.
So the 2-day live workshop is my favorite because of all the interaction with parents, kids, and teens, and is highly hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 days where you get a whole team of holistic nutritionists, maybe more than you ever want to see in one room at the same time, okay? But sharing simple, practical steps to reduce toxicity and to give you personalized answers to your questions, because every family is unique. Now, I'm going to give a really quick example of a family, Nancy and Morgan, mom and daughter, that came early on in our program and contacted us because they were both overweight and lacking energy. They took to this like, I don't know what, ducks to water, I guess, okay? They loved it. And they went online to Craigslist, which is a great place to get really quality exercise equipment from people who've only used it for a week and sold it, okay? They got themselves an exercise bike. They parked it in front of the TV. They pay attention. This is a really good tip. They did their exercise at the first 15 minutes of a program. Okay, they did a little interval training on there. They learned how to exercise healthily. They realized that their daughter had a certain body type and she needed more protein. And when they began to add that in and healthier fats, weight dropped, energy picked up, all those kind of things. And basically what's really fun with them is that they, since Megan had been born, actually, Morgan had been born, they did mother-daughter pictures each Mother's Day. And so they sent me some of their previous ones. And then after the program, they kept sending me their new ones. And it was so cool to watch the improved health over the years. So that's why we do this program. Okay.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned three phases to the Happy Healthy Kids program. Can you elaborate on them?
Yeah, so 3 phases: find, build, and keep. So on day 1 of the Happy Healthy Kids program, Live Intensive, we cover all 3 of those phases.
Okay, so phase 1 is find your balance.
Yeah, find your balance. That's kind of like opening the door to find out what lifestyle changes you'll need to implement in your home. And that phase includes a mild, as you know, mild dietary cleanse. Keyword here is mild. Actually, parents and kids actually do really well on it.
And I've had so many clients just say, well, I can eat like that. Then I want to stay on it because it isn't a cleanse that is extremely restrictive and all that.
Exactly.
So phase 2 is build your balance.
Right. And that's where families learn how to incorporate that lifestyle change technique for smarter rather than harder exercise. They develop a set of safe shelters for things like relationships, beliefs, food, and routines.
Okay, and then phase 3, keep your balance.
Keep your balance. That's where you're going to learn how to do this for the rest of your life. So what you need to implement so that it really does become that heritage of health that we talk about. Day 2, return to the workshop. And this time with your child, okay, we're going to cover the program with them. That means fun activities, group work with you and your child together and individually. And that ensures that you really grasp that healthy kids is not a quick fix or magic bullet. It actually is going to be instead that whole inheritance of long-term health and vitality.
So tell the parents a little bit more about the tools we provide that will help them, grasp these phases.
Sure, they're fun, and we actually get to use them in our own home, so it's
Yes,
amazing.
we do.
Okay, so you get a downloadable version of the book I wrote, and that will give you step-by-step, day-at-a-glance guidelines in a, I think, fun, family-friendly
I
way.
think it's
Okay,
great.
you get a magnificent mums or a dynamic dad's daily journal, and that gives you easy space to keep track of positive emotional, environmental, physical changes, and also challenges too, so you can keep note of those and talk to us about that. You get fun and tasty family-friendly recipes, personalized menu plan templates that will assure that your new food does not taste like hockey pucks, all right? An exercise handbook, so you exercise smarter, not harder. And then a couple of really cool books. One is a healthy family activity book for younger kids. That's our wild and wacky, wonderful kids activity book. And that has games and activities for your child to kind of follow along with all the different stages that you'll be doing. And then we have an overall family activity book that has some teen activities and some kids activities as well.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the investment.
Absolutely. Okay, so you can get the kind of emotional and physical wellness, the support that Happy Healthy Kids provides from a couple of different sources. And the operative phrase here is a couple of different sources. So when you start to understand all of the family wellness bases the Happy Healthy Kids program covers, so things like dietary and exercise recommendations, emotional and attitude support, body type assessments, you start thinking, oh my goodness, we need a lot of different people to do this for us, okay? With lots of different areas of expertise. And you need to contract with, actually a whole team of them. So when you start to understand that, then you start to understand what you get with Happy Healthy Kids.
So what should a parent do if they decide to go that route?
Well, if they go that route, still contact us. Like if you've got, if you've got a lot of heavy duty challenges in your family, we can actually put you in touch with some of those experts, psychologists, social work, nutritionists, okay,
Yes.
personal trainers, and we're happy to give you the name of that if you feel like your family has got a lot of challenges, okay?
Because we want parents to realize, though, that the wellness practitioners of that caliber run upwards of $80 to $175 an hour, if not more.
Mhm.
And having them on retainer for a number of months, plus budgeting for things like metabolic typing,
Yeah, that's it.
assessments, which we do, menu planning and recipe creation for both you and your family and your child, will be valuable but significant investment.
Yeah, I mean, I crunched some numbers the other night. You know me, I'm a big numbers fan.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and depending on the number of people in your family or the degree of household toxicity, and even where you happen to live, the geographic location, I discovered that if you put together a do-it-yourself emotional and physical wellness program for your family, it could set you back, about $8,000 to $10,000. And though, seriously, if you had big challenges, it would be worth it.
Of course.
Absolutely worth it to get a healthy household. Okay.
Yeah.
Tuition for our program is less. All right, it's $19.95. And to register, you can simply click on the Buy Now button. It's going to be somewhere on this page. I'm not sure, but it'll be there in a couple of minutes as soon as you wrap up the webinar.
Okay. Because it can be a number of months before the next workshop date, however, and because of our passion to get this life-changing material into parents' hands, of course, as soon as possible, Brenda, we have also created something else, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a lot of fun doing it, okay? So we have a Happy Healthy Kids home learning program. So we have the live intensive that people love, but we also want to get people access quickly, as Michelle said. So it has 8 online modules, and for each of those modules, you'll have a helpful educational webinar. You'll get clear instructions of what you need to do, what you need to read in the book, the downloads that you need to get for that week. And among those useful things, you're going to understand how to identify your family's body type. And that really helps with, energy and things like that. You'll become a label reading super sleuth, guaranteed, okay? You can implement a cleanse safely, like Michelle mentioned. You'll recognize emotional eating and even better, how to neutralize it,
Yes.
okay? And you'll know how to do those favorite types of smarter, but, less exercise. And super importantly, you're going to get that information in bite-sized chunks. Our goal is not to overwhelm parents. Like,
Right.
We are parents. We know what it's like. We want to make sure you can easily put into place those new behaviors.
Okay. So other than the actual live event experience, the Happy Healthy Kids home learning program includes all the material and tools
Absolutely.
that are a part of the live workshop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's in there. Okay. In addition, a couple of bonuses. Okay. So number one, people that do the bonuses, people that do the live event, people that do the home learning program actually get access to our Happy Healthy Kids Facebook page. We really believe in contact. We think that having a live body on the other end of a typing thing is a good idea. And so on there, you can get your questions answered between watching the modules. It's like going through the process, sharing support, getting information, getting encouragement, not only from us expert program facilitators, but from other families who are going through the same thing as well. So investment for the home learning program is $495. Now, just before you finish, however, we want to tell you something. Listen very carefully, okay? Our recommendation is to attend both, and this is why.
Because with the Happy Healthy Kids home learning program, you get to get started right away.
Mhm.
You work through the material at your own pace and can begin making healthy changes and creating that happy, healthy family with ease as soon as you click that play button. So, and all the modules are there as well. The webinars are a resource you can view and review for up to 1 year.
Yeah.
And the downloadables material is yours for life.
Exactly. So there's the material, you go for it. But the live coaching you get from us and other imbalanced nutritionists at that live event is unsurpassed. We're actually very fun and really good, give good information, okay? And because we do some small group work in those, the live event allows you to actually connect with and work with other like-minded parents and your child to interact with peers who are also moving away from toxicity to health. And that's important, okay? The live event actually allows your child to hear healthy guidelines from someone other than his or her mom or dad. But because we're super dedicated to making it possible for you and your family to succeed, we want to make it easy for you to get both. So for a short time, when you invest in the online program for $495, we're actually going to gift you the entire live Happy Healthy Kids event for free. Just a fun thing to do, isn't it? So to be clear, when you invest $495 in the home learning program, which you'll get virtually immediate access to as soon as we send you the links to it, you'll get the entire live 2-day Happy Healthy Kids event for free. That's like a $1,995 gift, okay?
Wow.
So click that button to register. It's for a limited time only, and it's to parents who make their way to this site.
So before we finish today, Brenda, can you share with us a story about Josh and his family? They were one of the Happy Healthy Kids families.
Absolutely. It's amazing that you can actually find health in a big box grocery store snack aisle. I met this woman in an aisle. She was throwing corn chip packages back on the shelf, crushing them basically into oblivion, okay, and muttering about, I don't know what to do here. Should I be looking for this? Should I be looking for this? So I just, said, oh, so what's happening? How are you doing? And she said, I don't even know how to pick food anymore. Like, do you look for if it's organic? Do you look for if it is, what kind of fats are in it? How many calories are in it? So I mentioned label reading super sleuth. I actually gave her a mini Happy Healthy Kids 101 nutrition label reading course in the middle of this big box aisle, and she was amazed. She knew exactly what to look for. She knew it was quality over quantity, and she left with her little bag. But before she left, she said to me, like, what are you, like the nutrition fairy or something, to hang around this aisle? And I'm like, no, I run this program, I developed this program, and she signed up on the spot. A few months later, I got my favorite all-time email. Why don't you read it? Okay.
Okay, sure. So it says, hey, this is Josh. I'm very excited to say I have lost 7 3/4 and 10 pounds. 7 3/4 inches. Yeah. Oh my goodness, and 10 pounds. Sorry. I am looking forward to losing more. I am exercising a lot. I ride my bike 45 minutes every morning and a lot in the afternoon, rain or shine, brackets. I am eating more veggies than I used to. Cukes are my favorite. And thanks for all your help and wisdom. I'm just beginning. Build your balance. My mom and dad are helping me sometimes. My mom and dad are helping me. Sometimes they mess up.
Yeah.
Okay, I mess up too, he says. Happy Easter, Josh.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's one of my favorite emails of all time. So with the home learning program, you can follow in Josh and his parents' footsteps without having to leave the comfort of your own home. Are you ready for that?
Now, we have a couple of final things, right, Brenda?
Right. Yeah. Yes, some good ones. Okay, so I highly recommend you come to the live event with a family member or a friend who will support you in moving from a toxic home to a healthy home. When Michelle and I made these changes, it was really good to have people around us who are on the same page as us, okay? And we're going to be helping you adjust your family's health strategies in all 4 of those areas. And you don't want to have to re-explain that to a spouse or to a supportive grandma or whatever. So bring them with you to the live event. And for a special bonus today, so you get the support you need when you invest in the home learning program, in addition to a free ticket to the live event for you, we're going to give a free event for somebody else, free ticket for somebody else as well. Okay, so to be clear, you can bring another person for free. That's another $1,995 gift from us to you when you invest in the Happy Healthy Kids online webinar home learning program by clicking on that button on your screen. Our live events are small and they're first come, first served. And we offer them several times a year, but it's likely there'll be some time between now and then. So that's why you'll get the home learning program. You can access that right away. And you get those 2 free tickets. Now, the other thing we want to do is we wanted to give them also access to our group mentoring for free as well. Okay?
These group mentoring coaching sessions have a value of hundreds of dollars, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you consider what you could be paying for all of that for our free nutritionist or whatever, the fact that we're giving you access to a regularly scheduled group mentoring session, which generally we do as that group will hangout or whatever, this is worth a lot of money, and we're actually giving it to you at a very, very good value. I mean, really, if all the program did was save you 1 or 2 hours worth of work with each of those specialists, it would be paid for itself time and time over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Brenda, can you finish up by going over the
guarantee?
Guarantee.
I'll go over the guarantee. Okay, certainly. So you heard both of us talking earlier about our own health challenges and our commitment to raising our own healthy kids. And that's one reason we're so crazy passionate about devoting our lives to actually helping foster healthy homes. But there's another reason. It's not just our homes. We want to spread this around, okay? And we believe 100% in this program. I can tell you, we can tell you, if you register today, you come to the live workshop, you participate fully in the program, and you don't see increased health results in your child, we will offer full tuition back, okay? For up to 1 complete year after the purchase of the program. To be clear, come and try out our principles for a full year. If you don't see value, let us know and we'll give you your tuition back. In closing, are you finally ready to stop struggling and create a happy, healthy family with ease? Earlier in the webinar, I had you jot down 2 challenges that you have with your child. Don't have your family a year from now be in the same toxic condition or worse. Happy Healthy Kids works in our families, in all of our clients' families, and we imagine that you're here because you want improved wellness in your family as well. So kudos to you for making the effort to make that happen. Don't, however, struggle on your own. Join our Happy Healthy Kids community by clicking that button now, and let's get healthier together.
And the last thing before we wrap up is to say thank you for attending our webinar and for staying clear through to the end. We appreciate your focus and diligence. And I'm Michelle Harcourt.
And I'm Brenda Wallenberg. Thanks for being here. We look forward to meeting you in person to support you further. Until next time, be well.